In the glittering world of New York City's elite, appearances can be deceiving. From Maid to Millionaire, My Luxury Revenge tells the gripping tale of Sophia, a young woman who rose from humble beginnings as a housekeeper to become one of the city's most influential socialites. But her journey is far from a simple rags-to-riches story. Driven by a thirst for justice and armed with insider knowledge of the upper crust's darkest secrets, Sophia embarks on a calculated plan to right the wrongs of her past. As she climbs the social ladder, she leaves a trail of whispers and shocked faces in her wake. Will her elaborate scheme for vengeance succeed, or will the high-stakes world of New York's wealthy prove too treacherous to navigate? Prepare for a roller coaster of luxury, betrayal, and sweet revenge. Sophia Martinez, a 25-year-old of Puerto Rican descent, scrubbed the marble floors of the Blackwood mansion, her knees aching from hours of work. The palatial Upper East Side residence loomed over her, a constant reminder of the vast divide between her world and that of her employers. As she polished the antique mirrors in the grand foyer, Sophia overheard a heated conversation between Jonathan Blackwood, the family patriarch, and his son Trevor. "The Martinez girl is becoming a problem," Jonathan hissed. "We need to make sure she never speaks about what happened that night." Sophia's heart raced. They were talking about her sister, Maria, who had mysteriously disappeared after attending a Blackwood party 2 years ago. The police had dismissed it as a runaway case, but Sophia knew better. Determined to uncover the truth, Sophia began secretly documenting the Blackwoods' conversations and activities. She noticed the frequent visits of shady businessmen, overheard discussions of offshore accounts, and witnessed the family's callous treatment of their staff. One fateful evening, while cleaning Trevor's study, Sophia discovered a hidden safe. Using the combination she had carefully memorized after watching Trevor, she opened it to find incriminating documents and a USB drive. With trembling hands, she quickly photographed the contents and replaced everything, her mind reeling from the implications. That night, in her tiny apartment, Sophia made a life-changing decision. She would no longer be a silent witness to the Blackwoods' corruption. It was time to turn the tables. With a mix of determination and fear, she began to formulate a plan that would change her life forever. Over the next 6 months, Sophia meticulously executed the first phase of her plan. She enrolled in night classes, studying business and etiquette while maintaining her job at the Blackwood mansion. Her keen observations of the elite's mannerisms and social norms became her greatest asset. Using the information from the USB drive, Sophia made anonymous tips to the SEC about the Blackwoods' financial misdeeds. As the family became distracted by mounting legal pressures, she seized the opportunity to ingratiate herself with Amanda Blackwood, Jonathan's neglected wife. Sophia's natural charm and newfound polish caught Amanda's attention. Soon she was promoted from maid to personal assistant, gaining unprecedented access to the family's inner circle. She carefully cultivated relationships with other staff members, gathering more intel and potential allies. One evening, at a charity gala, Sophia met Elena Vega, a successful tech entrepreneur. Impressed by Sophia's sharp mind and ambition, Elena offered her an entry-level position at her company. It was the break Sophia needed. As Sophia prepared to leave the Blackwoods' employment, Trevor cornered her in the kitchen. "You've changed," he said, his eyes narrowing suspiciously. "What are you really after?" Sophia's heart pounded, but she maintained her composure. "Just trying to better myself, Mr. Blackwood," she replied with a polite smile. "Isn't that the American dream?" Little did Trevor know, Sophia's departure was just the beginning. With her foot in the door of New York's tech scene and a wealth of damning information, she was poised to climb higher and strike harder. The game of revenge was only just beginning. 2 years later, Sophia had risen through the ranks at Elena's company, impressing everyone with her intelligence and drive. She had cultivated a new image, sophisticated, confident, and mysterious. Her calculated moves in the business world caught the attention of several influential figures, including Charles Huntington, a powerful venture capitalist with ties to the Blackwoods. At a tech conference, Charles approached Sophia with a partnership offer. Unbeknownst to him, this was exactly what she had been waiting for. As they discussed the deal over dinner, Sophia subtly steered the conversation towards the Blackwoods. "I heard they're facing some difficulties," she said casually. Charles leaned in, intrigued by her apparent insider knowledge. "Jonathan's always been good at wiggling out of trouble, but this time, let's just say, some very interesting documents have surfaced." Sophia's pulse quickened. Her anonymous tips had borne fruit. She pressed further, and Charles, loosened by expensive wine, revealed that the Blackwoods were on the verge of a major scandal. As she left the restaurant, Sophia received a text from an unknown number. "I know what you're doing. Meet me at Central Park tomorrow, 9 p.m. Come alone." Her blood ran cold. Had she been discovered? Was her carefully constructed plan about to unravel? As fear and determination warred within her, Sophia realized she had reached a critical juncture. The next move could either cement her path to revenge or lead to her downfall. With trembling hands, she typed a reply. "I'll be there." Sophia spent the next day on edge, her mind racing through possibilities. Who could have sent the message? As night fell, she made her way to Central Park, every sense on high alert. Her heart nearly stopped when she saw a familiar figure waiting in the shadows. It was Amanda Blackwood. Amanda's presence threw Sophia off balance, but she quickly regained her composure. "I know what happened to Maria," Amanda said softly, her eyes filled with a mix of guilt and determination. "And I want to help you bring the truth to light." This unexpected alliance opened new doors for Sophia, but also introduced complications. Amanda revealed that Jonathan had been blackmailing her for years, using her own past indiscretions to keep her silent about the family's crimes. Together, they formulated a plan to gather concrete evidence against the Blackwoods. Meanwhile, Sophia's business dealings with Charles Huntington were progressing rapidly. She leveraged her newfound connection to infiltrate higher circles of New York's elite, always staying one step ahead of suspicion. However, Trevor Blackwood was becoming increasingly wary of her sudden rise in social status. At a high-profile charity event, Sophia nearly lost her cool when she overheard Trevor discussing a cleanup operation at an old warehouse. Her instincts told her it was connected to Maria's disappearance. She needed to investigate, but doing so would risk exposing her true motives. As if sensing her inner turmoil, Elena approached Sophia at the event. "You seem distracted lately," she observed. "Is everything okay?" Sophia plastered on a smile, realizing she needed to be more careful. "Just a bit overwhelmed with work," she lied smoothly. "Nothing I can't handle." But as she mingled with the crowd, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking a tightrope. One wrong move could send her plummeting back to where she started, or worse. As Sophia delved deeper into her investigation, the lines between ally and enemy became increasingly blurred. She arranged a clandestine meeting with Amanda at a small cafe in Brooklyn, away from prying eyes. "Jonathan's becoming suspicious," Amanda whispered, her hands shaking around her coffee cup. "He's hired a private investigator to look into your background." Sophia's mind raced. She had created a solid false identity, but intense scrutiny could unravel everything. "We need to accelerate our plan," she replied, her voice low and urgent. Later that week, at a business dinner with Charles Huntington, Sophia carefully probed for information about the Blackwoods warehouse. Charles, now trusting her as a confidant, revealed that it was tied to a series of shell companies used for money laundering. As the evening wore on, Charles' demeanor changed. He leaned in close, his breath smelling of expensive scotch. "You know, Sophia, you remind me of someone I used to know. She was ambitious, like you." A chill ran down Sophia's spine. Was he referring to Maria? She maintained her composure, deflecting with a charming smile and a change of subject. The next day, Sophia received an unexpected invitation from Trevor Blackwood for a private meeting at his office. Her instincts screamed danger, but she knew refusing could raise suspicions. As she entered the imposing Blackwood corporate building, Sophia steeled herself. This meeting could be a trap, or it could be the key to unraveling the entire mystery. Either way, she was walking into the lion's den, armed only with her wits and determination. Sophia's meeting with Trevor Blackwood was a masterclass in deception and misdirection. As she sat across from him in his opulent office, she could feel his piercing gaze attempting to uncover her secrets. "I've been watching your meteoric rise, Ms. Martinez," Trevor said, his tone a mix of admiration and suspicion. "It's quite impressive, almost unbelievable, one might say." Sophia maintained her poise, deflecting his subtle accusations with carefully crafted half-truths about her background and ambitions. As the conversation progressed, Trevor revealed that he was considering her for a position within the Blackwood Corporation. "We could use someone with your unique perspective," he said, his words loaded with hidden meaning. Recognizing this as both an opportunity and a threat, Sophia cautiously accepted his offer to discuss the position further. As she left his office, her phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. "Warehouse being cleared out tonight. This might be our only chance." Sophia's heart raced. She had to act fast, but Trevor's job offer complicated matters. If she moved too quickly, she risked exposing herself. If she waited, crucial evidence might be lost forever. That evening, as Sophia prepared to stake out the warehouse, she received another unexpected message. This time, it was from Elena. "We need to talk. It's about your past." Sophia froze, her carefully constructed world threatening to crumble around her. With time running out and threats closing in from all sides, she realized that the next 24 hours would determine everything. The endgame was approaching, and she had to be ready for whatever came next. As night fell, Sophia found herself parked near the warehouse, her mind racing. She had to balance multiple crises: the imminent clearing of the warehouse, Elena's ominous message, and Trevor's suspicious job offer. Suddenly, a black SUV pulled up to the warehouse. Sophia's breath caught as she recognized Jonathan Blackwood stepping out, followed by Charles Huntington. This unexpected connection added a new layer to the conspiracy. While observing their activities, Sophia received a call from Amanda. "I've found something," Amanda whispered urgently. "Financial records linking the Blackwoods to a human trafficking ring. It's worse than we thought, Sophia. It's not just about Maria." The revelation hit Sophia like a punch to the gut. The scope of the Blackwoods' crimes was far greater than she had imagined. She realized that her personal vendetta had led her to uncover a vast criminal network. As Sophia processed this information, she noticed Elena's car pulling up to the warehouse. Panic surged through her. What was Elena doing here? Had she been part of this all along? Sophia watched in stunned silence as Elena engaged in a heated discussion with Jonathan and Charles. It became clear that Elena was not just aware of their operations, but was intricately involved. This discovery shattered Sophia's trust and forced her to reevaluate everything. The mentor she had looked up to, the woman who had given her a chance, was complicit in the very crimes Sophia was fighting against. With her world turned upside down, Sophia realized that to bring down the Blackwoods, she would have to sacrifice relationships and confront painful truths. The path to justice was becoming increasingly treacherous. The following day, Sophia felt the walls closing in. She had to act quickly but cautiously. She arranged a meeting with Amanda at a secluded spot in Central Park, ensuring they weren't followed. "We need to move now," Sophia said, her voice tense. "I've got a plan, but it's risky." Amanda nodded, her face pale but determined. "Whatever it takes. We can't let them destroy more lives." Sophia outlined her strategy. They would use Trevor's job offer as a Trojan horse to access the Blackwood Corporation's internal systems. Meanwhile, Amanda would leak select information to a trusted journalist, creating a media frenzy to distract the Blackwoods. As they finalized the details, Sophia's phone rang. It was Elena. Taking a deep breath, Sophia answered. "We need to meet," Elena said, her tone unreadable. "Now." Sophia agreed, knowing this confrontation was inevitable. They met at Elena's office, the tension palpable. "I know what you've been doing," Elena said, her eyes hard. "You're playing a dangerous game, Sophia." For a moment, Sophia considered denying everything, but then she saw an opportunity. "So are you, Elena. I know about your involvement with the Blackwoods." Elena's expression flickered with surprise, then resignation. "It's complicated, Sophia. There's more at stake than you realize." As they talked, Sophia realized Elena wasn't just a willing accomplice, but a reluctant participant, trapped in the Blackwoods' web. This revelation opened up new possibilities and new dangers. By the end of their conversation, Sophia had gained a tentative ally in Elena, but also a wild card that could either make or break her plans. The next morning, Sophia stepped into the Blackwood Corporation headquarters, her heart pounding beneath her perfectly tailored suit. She was officially starting her new position, but her true mission was far more dangerous. As Trevor showed her around, Sophia discreetly planted small devices that would allow her to access the company's secure servers later. She smiled and nodded, playing the part of the eager new employee while her mind raced with the complexities of her plan. Midday, she received an urgent text from Amanda. "It's done. The story breaks in an hour." Right on cue, chaos erupted. News of the Blackwoods' alleged crimes hit the media like a bombshell. Sophia watched as Jonathan Blackwood stormed through the office, barking orders and making frantic phone calls. In the midst of the pandemonium, Sophia slipped away to Trevor's office. With trembling hands, she began downloading incriminating files onto a hidden drive. Suddenly, the door opened. Sophia whirled around to find Charles Huntington standing there, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. "I always knew there was something off about you," Charles said, his voice cold. "What are you really after, Sophia?" Time seemed to stand still as Sophia weighed her options. She could try to bluff her way out, but Charles was too smart for that. In that split second, she made a bold decision. "The truth," she said firmly, "about Maria Martinez, about the trafficking ring, about all of it. And I think you're tired of covering it up, aren't you, Charles?" Charles's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and, was that relief? Sophia realized she was at a pivotal moment that could change everything. Charles's momentary hesitation was all Sophia needed. She pressed on, her voice low and intense. "You can help me end this, Charles. It's not too late to do the right thing." For a tense moment, Charles seemed to waver. Then his shoulders sagged. "You have no idea how deep this goes," he whispered. Just then, Trevor burst into the office, his face contorted with rage. "What's going on here?" he demanded. Sophia's mind raced. She needed to act fast. "Mr. Blackwood," she said calmly, "I think it's time we had an honest conversation." What followed was a whirlwind of revelations and confrontations. Sophia, emboldened by Charles's apparent willingness to cooperate, laid out everything she knew about the Blackwoods' crimes. Trevor's face paled as he realized the extent of their exposure. Suddenly, Jonathan Blackwood entered, flanked by security guards. "Arrest her," he commanded, pointing at Sophia. But before anyone could move, Elena stepped into the room. "I wouldn't do that if I were you, Jonathan," she said coolly. "Not unless you want the full extent of your operations broadcast live." Elena held up her phone, showing a live stream of Amanda in a news studio, ready to reveal everything. The room fell into stunned silence. Sophia seized the moment. "It's over," she declared. "The truth about Maria, about the trafficking, all of it. You can't hide anymore." As if on cue, the sound of police sirens filled the air. Jonathan's face twisted with fury. "You'll regret this," he snarled, lunging at Sophia. In a flash, Charles stepped between them, restraining Jonathan. "No more," he said firmly. "It ends now." The next few minutes were a blur of activity as police officers flooded the office. Sophia watched as Jonathan and Trevor were led away in handcuffs, their empire crumbling around them. As the dust settled, Sophia found herself face to face with a detective. "Ms. Martinez," he said solemnly, "we're going to need your full statement." Sophia nodded, a mix of emotions washing over her. She had done it. She had brought down the Blackwoods and exposed their crimes. But as she looked around at the chaos she had unleashed, she realized that this was just the beginning. The road to justice for Maria and all the other victims was still long, but for the first time in years, Sophia felt hope. In the days that followed, Sophia found herself at the center of a media storm. The Blackwood scandal had blown wide open, exposing a network of corruption that reached far beyond what she had initially imagined. As she worked tirelessly with investigators, providing evidence and testimony, the true scope of her achievement began to sink in. One morning, as Sophia sat in a crowded courthouse waiting to testify, she felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to see a woman with familiar eyes, eyes that mirrored her own. "Maria?" she whispered, hardly daring to believe it. The sisters embraced, tears flowing freely. Maria had been found alive, rescued from a trafficking ring in Eastern Europe as a result of the investigation Sophia had set in motion. Their reunion was bittersweet, filled with shared pain but also immense relief and joy. As the trial progressed, Sophia watched from the witness stand as the Blackwoods empire crumbled. Jonathan and Trevor were sentenced to lengthy prison terms, their assets seized and redistributed to their victims. Charles Huntington, in exchange for his cooperation, received a reduced sentence. Elena, whose role in the affair was more complex than Sophia had initially thought, agreed to testify against her former associates in exchange for immunity. Their relationship remained complicated, a mix of gratitude and lingering distrust. On the final day of the trial, as Sophia exited the courthouse, she was met by a sea of reporters and cameras. Taking a deep breath, she stepped up to the microphones. "Today, justice has been served," she began, her voice strong and clear. "But our work is far from over. This case has exposed the dark underbelly of our society, where the powerful prey on the vulnerable. It's up to all of us to ensure that such crimes never go unchecked again." As she spoke, Sophia locked eyes with Amanda in the crowd. The two women shared a silent moment of understanding. They had both risked everything for the truth, and in doing so, had forged an unbreakable bond. In the weeks that followed, Sophia used her newfound platform to advocate for stricter regulations on corporate accountability and increased support for trafficking survivors. She established a foundation in Maria's name, dedicated to helping victims rebuild their lives. As Sophia stood on the balcony of her new apartment, overlooking the city she had once seen only from the windows she cleaned, she felt a profound sense of transformation. She had entered this world seeking revenge, but she had found something far more valuable: purpose. 5 years after the Blackwood scandal, Sophia Martinez stood at the podium of a prestigious business school, addressing a room full of eager students. Her journey from Maid to Millionaire, from seeker of revenge to champion of justice, had become a source of inspiration for many. "Success isn't just about climbing to the top," she told the audience. "It's about lifting others as you rise. True wealth lies not in your bank account, but in the positive impact you make on the world around you." Sophia's foundation had grown into a powerful force for change, providing support and opportunities for survivors of trafficking and exploitation. She had leveraged her business acumen and connections to create ethical enterprises that prioritized social responsibility. As she concluded her speech, Sophia's gaze fell on Maria, sitting in the front row. Her sister had become an integral part of the foundation, using her own experiences to help others heal and rebuild their lives. Their bond, forged through adversity, had only grown stronger with time. Leaving the auditorium, Sophia was approached by a young woman with determined eyes. "Ms. Martinez," she said, "your story inspired me to fight against injustice in my own community. How can I make a difference like you did?" Sophia smiled, recognizing the fire she once saw in her own reflection. "Start where you are, use what you have, and never underestimate the power of your voice," she advised. "Remember, every great change begins with a single courageous step." As Sophia walked away, she felt a sense of fulfillment that no amount of luxury or revenge could have provided. She had not only changed her own destiny, but had set in motion a wave of positive change that would continue long after her. Wow, what a journey we've been on together. I hope Sophia's story of resilience and justice has touched your heart as much as it has mine. Now, I'd love to hear from you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Sophia's story? And I'm curious, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for being part of our journey. Until next time, keep dreaming big and fighting for what's right.